This is Locked On Bets, the daily betting show that means business from the Locked On Podcast Network. Hosted by Lee Sterling and Kevin Rogers, they're dropping fearless picks with an inside edge to put money in your pocket. If there's action, they've got the lock. This is where smart bets start. It's Locked On Bets.
Welcome to the Monday edition of Locked On Bets. Kevin Rogers and Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports with you. And as always, we appreciate you making Locked On Bets your first listen of the day here on the Locked On Podcast Network. So much to go over tonight. Lions, Ravens, a couple plays on that game, Monday Night Football, to close out week 3 of the NFL. Also, there's 3 baseball games tonight. We'll go over 2 of them. And final week of the Major League Baseball season beginning tonight, going into Sunday, and I'll wrap up. We'll know everyone who's going to be in the playoffs, all the matchups on Sunday. But with all that being said, Lee, and we're going to recap the weekend as well, let's get right to it with a hidden gem.
To find a diamond in the rough, you need to dig a little deeper for those hidden gems.
One of 3 baseball games tonight, Cardinals and the Giants out west in San Francisco. Giants still hanging around in the playoff race. They lost 3 of 4 to the Dodgers this past weekend. Justin Verlander, Michael McGreevy on the mound tonight in San Francisco. Lee, what do you like with this one?
So you and I have been talking about Justin Verlander being absolutely horrible. Actually like 3/4 pole, but that's why you got to pay attention. Now, both teams are light hitting teams. Let's not, that's going to play into this play also. But I don't know if people have paid attention, but Justin Verlander, last 5 starts, has only given up 2 earned runs, usually quick starter. On the other side of the hill, McGreevy, his counterpart, 1 bad start, last 4 games. So I think you got 2 teams that'll kind of feel each other out, like a boxing match. They come out the first round, they stay the distance, they just throw a few jabs. I'm going to go with the no runs first inning in the San Francisco St. Louis game, -130. My total hidden gem.
Right out of the gate. You talk about me with the first quarters in the WNBA, how fast this is. This is 1 inning and you're done. So We'll see how this goes tonight in San Francisco. Cardinals and Giants beginning a 3-game set. We have another baseball play coming up as well, and we'll talk about the Lions, Ravens in a bit. But Lee, let's recap. It feels like in football, it's almost just a given wild weekends. First off, with our bets on the show over the week, because we had so many bets every day to kind of recap it all. The total 4-4-1 in the 9 games. For me personally, I went 0-1-1. Let's just say Georgia State was a bad play as Vanderbilt ran them out. Broncos, though, they ended up pushing in that loss to the Chargers. They were up in the 4th quarter. Second game, they blown at the end. Let's look at your plays now. All right, some of the winners. I want to start with this one, Lee. In the NFL, Seattle and Pittsburgh, first of all. I mean, the Seahawks could have been laying 3 touchdowns in that game yesterday. I mean, New Orleans is just terrible, and Seattle took a early lead and never looked back.
Told everyone, they're tanking. They told Kellen Moore, we're hiring you, and we are done. They probably didn't say we're tanking, maybe didn't use that word, but we're building for the future. That might be a better way to put it. Building for the future. So just play with what you got. We got salary cap problems. They should be in better shape next year, and they'll end up getting their quarterback, certainly not on their roster. I'm going to make a prediction. So they played Tyler Shug later in the game because they were getting blown out. And they might have given up a punt and a kickoff return. I know they gave up a punt return for a touchdown. But I think they're going to end up playing 4 quarterbacks before it's all said and done. They want to make sure they have the number 1 spot. They can get their quarterback, or they can trade, and someone else wants their quarterback. They get a lot of draft capital and still get their quarterback. So that's the way you look at that game. I think they're one of the worst teams we've seen in the last 30, 40 years in the NFL.
Yeah, it's been pretty bad, and they did hang around a bit the first 2 weeks, but yesterday just blown out. And guess where prize is next week? Buffalo on the road. So we'll see how that one turns out. Bill's a heavy favorite in that one. Steelers winner over the Patriots, and Pittsburgh was up 14-0 out of the gate. They did have a lot of takeaways, Pittsburgh, and that's definitely what helped them because New England had opportunities. They fumbled in the goal line. Drake May threw another pick in the end zone. So Pittsburgh, lucky to get out of there, but still they took care of business to get their second win.
Yeah, they took care of business, but they were outgained. 4 fumbles.
Yeah.
So what's funny was last year, I think Stevenson, the running back for New England, had a really good first game and then was terrible pretty much the rest of the year. My nephew said, should I pick up Stevenson? I'm like, no. He's like, why not? He had a good game. He'll be running back number 1. I said, yeah, for a game. He fumbled twice. So Drake May's also having trouble. Something to pay attention to. A lot of people just looked at passing stats. Got to look at turnovers. He's fumble prone. He's always trying to make something happen. And when you're reaching, at the last second, we're not paying attention when someone, is coming from the blind side and you fumble, just as bad as throwing an interception.
There's one other game I forgot to mention, which you kind of nailed, was the Panthers. You had them with the points against Atlanta, and that was kind of never in doubt. I want to give you this number, Lee. So since Michael Penix threw that touchdown pass to Bijan Robinson about a minute and a half into the season against Tampa Bay, the Falcons have 2 offensive touchdowns since then. Like, they've been absolutely awful, and they got nothing going against Carolina, who finally got their first win yesterday.
I thought he was good. I mean, Michael Penix, I thought he might develop into a top 15 quarterback, but I don't see him as a top 10 quarterback. Never thought that. Came to the league at like 25 or 26. He had played 6 or 7 seasons in college football. So, I mean, he's fine. Might be a serviceable starter, but, to me, he's not going to change the franchise.
Now, as far as some of the college plays, you hit on Kansas. That was a blowout over West Virginia. Nebraska, close loss to Michigan. Wisconsin didn't play well. They lost to Maryland. Gators hung around with Miami for a bit. They got that touchdown down 13-7. They had the ball again in Miami territory. Couldn't convert that 4th down. Hurricanes ended up getting a late touchdown to kind of put it out of reach. But your thoughts on some of those picks?
Well, I think Nebraska's got a problem. Nebraska is Rutgers. I mean, their offensive line was terrible. I mean, they're different than Rutgers, but I'm saying I don't think they're any better than Rutgers. I thought they would be better. You can't give up 7 sacks. I mean, that Michigan defensive line just ran over them. I mean, we're not talking about running really around them. They pushed those kids, those 5 offensive linemen back. That's a real problem for Nebraska. It wasn't the quarterback's fault. He was running for his life. So, Wisconsin is not good at all. That was just a total mistake. A couple other things I noticed. Texas Tech is for real. They made some really good decisions on who they acquired, with all that money, I think like 30, 40 million. Memphis, changing program win for them, beating Arkansas, and now they're probably the leader in the group of 5 to get into the college football playoff. Hats off to Memphis. And then Indiana didn't beat Illinois, beat them down, scored over 60 points, beat them down. So Indiana is for real. I was wrong about that. So you got to change your power rating sometimes when you make a mistake. I actually thought, I didn't put it out, I thought that Illinois would play them close, but I was 100% wrong on that game.
Quickly on this note, do you think this guy Signetti in a year or two, think he's gone from Indiana and he can go to the SEC, or like he's writing his own ticket with Indiana was nothing, and what he's done, gone to the college football playoff, and now seeing the amount of points they've scored and see. I don't know if they're at the Ohio State level or Oregon level in the Big Ten, but they're definitely obviously in the top half or in the top 5.
I agree. I think he's a really good coach. He was at James Madison. They were dominating that conference, everywhere he's gone, even before that. So he's a really good football coach. He's able to identify what kind of players will work for his program. If I was like South Carolina, he'd be the guy that I want. South Carolina has always been, always below average in the SEC. It's only going to get worse. Let's say they add 4 more teams. Let's say Florida State, Clemson, or Miami ends up coming in. They're going to be bottom feeders. So you want to play with the big boys, he'd be the guy that I'd look to.
Now, in the NFL, you had yesterday some wackiness at the end of these games. You had 3 blocked field goals, 2 of them returned for touchdowns. The Jets took the lead late. You thought, oh, wow, they were out of that game, came back, then Baker Mayfield took the Bucs down. They got the game-winning field goal to win it. Cleveland was dead in the water before they tied it up late, but Green Bay was going to win it. Cleveland blocked the field goal. Browns went down and kicked the game-winning field goal. And then one of the worst beats you'll ever see Rams were in control of that game over the Eagles. Philadelphia took the lead, but they were up 1. Okay, they're not going to cover the 3.5. There's no way with no overtime. Field goal at the end blocked. Okay, no problem. Big guy blocks it, picks it up saying, you know what? This is my moment. I'm running this thing in. I don't care. He does it. Eagles get the cover. One of the worst beats we'll ever see, Lee.
It was. It's definitely top 5, top 10 all time, and I've seen a lot of them. So I was actually on the right side of that. For my phone clients, we'd actually put out the Eagles minus 3.5, loser the whole game. Never were ahead in that game. No, actually, did they score? They might have scored the first touchdown.
Yeah, I think they were up first, or they kicked the field goal, or they scored. They got the first score. Yeah.
Yeah, they had the first score, and then from that point forward, never in the game as far as betting wise. So I finally got a gift. Now I've been on the other side. I think of I won one. Okay, so maybe the biggest big game bad beat was probably the Falcons up 28-3 in a Super Bowl against the Patriots. The final was 34-28 in overtime. Big game bad beat. But I had 2 that I think were even worse than that. And so now I guess I'm 2-2 because I did have the Falcons there. I had a Bahamas Bowl. Remember the Bahamas Bowl? I think it was 2014. Western Kentucky, Central Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
I had Western Kentucky laying 2.5. They were up 49-14, middle of the third quarter, still up 49-28, up 3 touchdowns, driving for a touchdown inside the 15-yard line, where one of our players fumbles. He fumbles, they recover, come back, score, and then I think recovered 2 onside kicks. And then Western Kentucky up 7 with less than a minute, instead of taking a knee, is just running the ball, and they punt. Somehow they punt, goes into the end zone with 1 second to go, and then they do the laterals, and they score, and then lose in overtime. So that was really bad. And then this, no one talks about this. It was probably in the late 90s, early 2000s. USC was playing someone. I don't remember who. And I don't know who was leading, who was trailing, but I had the team getting 11.5 points. So
was this Arizona State and it went to overtime?
Yes.
Okay.
So what happened was I had Arizona State plus 11.5 points. They're up 3 touchdowns with 6, 7, 8 minutes to go in the game. USC scores, recovers onside kick, scores. Recovers another onside kick, scores last play or last seconds of the game. So I'm still up 11.5 going to overtime. Of course, USC scores first, gets the ball, overtime. This was back when if the other team was to score, it was still live. If they intercepted the ball.
Right. Yeah.
USC intercepts the ball, up 7. They return it for a touchdown in overtime. They win by 13, getting 11.5, never trailed in the game. So there's a lot of bad beats, but they usually even themselves out.
They do. And you look back at it, yes. And things happen. This is why we watch it. You never see something before. Now it happens. Big guy ran it in, and he's like, this is my moment, and none of you are going to take – I'm not falling on this ball. Like, not going to happen. So Eagles end up getting the cover of 3-0 now on the season. We still got plenty to get to here. Lions, Ravens, couple plays on that game tonight. Big one inside the NFL. Also another baseball play. As all of that is straight ahead, you are listening to Locked On Bets. Let's talk now about FanDuel. And again, the NFL season underway. FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Week 3 concludes tonight. Lions, Ravens, plenty of bets you can make on that game. The side, the total, the money line. Ravens favored at home tonight. Do you like the over? You like the under? You want to bet on Lamar Jackson props, Jared Goff props, all of that at FanDuel. And right now, Josh Allen, he's the favorite to win the MVP at plus 250. Lamar's right behind him at plus 290. Jonathan Taylor of the Colts at plus 470 for Offensive Player of the Year. So you have plenty of options there. Also, your Super Bowl bets if you want to get in on that now. We're still a few months away. The Bills and the Ravens each at 5-1 at FanDuel. So you have plenty of things that you could bet on with the NFL season at FanDuel. Basically wrapping up 3 weeks of the NFL season. So if you're ready to play, download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. We roll on here. It is a Monday edition of Locked On Bets. So busy, a lot of stuff to get to. Lions and Ravens in just a little bit. But first, the second MLB play. And guess what, Lee? It's a second hidden gem.
To find a diamond in the rough, you need to dig a little deeper for those hidden gems.
The Atlanta Braves have gone through a disastrous season, but they're playing well down the stretch. Like now, it's kind of too little too late for them. They've won 8 straight. They took 4 in Washington. They swept Detroit, who's a complete disaster right now. May not win the AL Central, but we'll see how that one goes. But the Braves hosting the Nationals tonight in Atlanta. Chris Sale on the mound for the Braves, Mackenzie Gore for the Nationals. We're going to go with the Washington Nationals tonight. They are a heavy underdog. We're going to take them in the first 5 innings this evening, and a couple numbers on why. First, you want to know what the line is, Lee? How crazy this is, what they are in the first 5? Someplace you get a plus 195. They're at 186 at FanDuel. So you shop around, but still, it is a heavy, heavy line for the Atlanta Braves to cover tonight. Braves are 4-11 in their last 15 in the first 5 innings. Chris Sale making his 5th start off the IL. Just one time he's led through the first 5 innings of his past 4 starts. Sale and Gore went back and forth in their last start in D.C. last Tuesday. It was 0-0 through 5. Atlanta ended up winning the game in extra innings, but I think the Nats get some revenge here. The Nats ended up taking the final 2 from the Mets this weekend. So Washington not playing bad towards the end of the season, but I think this number's a little too high tonight. Let's take the Nationals first 5 against the Braves as our hidden gem.
I like it a lot. You've been doing well on those, and why not continue? Now, the last weekend, maybe Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we're going to see some teams just putting in some random lineups, calling up some guys. So I won't be playing a whole lot of baseball Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But, first, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, some of these teams are still playing, seems like playing their lineups. And I still think there's some spots where we can take advantage of.
Yeah, a lot of teams still playing all right. Still, I hate to say it, like giving that old college try at the end of the season, even if their season's over. So 3 baseball games. Like the one we didn't talk about, Brewers-Padres, big one out in San Diego. Padres need to pick up some wins here to solidify a playoff spot, but Brewers have wrapped up everything, or at least the National League Central championship. Now let's go to the NFL, and we have a couple plays on Lions-Ravens. We'll begin with a player prop, and it's time for our blowout special.
Oh, boy. Last one out, turn off the lights. This one's a blowout.
2 games so far, the Baltimore Ravens have eclipsed the 40-point mark, which is very, very it's a very good thing for that Baltimore team and Lamar Jackson running the show. And, he's going to run the ball. Lee, what do you like with Lamar Jackson, his rushing prop tonight?
All right, so I think that by Derrick Henry having a poor week, the public is going to be on him. They love star players, does the public. They love betting over. So they're going to bet Derrick Henry, and they're going to think, he's going to come back and he's going to have a big game. They'll remember really what the Lions defense was the end of last year. But it hasn't been bad this year at all. In fact, they lost to Green Bay 27-13. They were punched in the face, let's be honest, and just did not play well that game. They gave up 27 on the road. Then they gave up 21 to Chicago, and a couple of those scores were in garbage time. They were up big in that game. So I think their defense is improved. I think that their run defense is much better. But how can Baltimore get some running yards? Lamar Jackson. So the Lions are going to gear up to stop here Derrick Henry, and he's been fantastic, Lamar Jackson, his career against the NFC. So I think it continues tonight here. He is one of those guys, and obviously Allen is also for Buffalo. You just can't stop. They're so elusive that you can't game plan. And I don't think teams are willing to put a spy out there. I haven't seen it yet really in the NFL or more than one or two plays in an entire game. So things break down, and I do expect this Detroit defense to be pretty good. I think he's the guy that might end up having the most rushing yards. So we're going to go Lamar Jackson over 42.5 rushing yards here, minus 115, blowout special.
And this is going to be a really good game tonight. One of these teams will be 1-2 after tonight. So it should be, see how this goes. Baltimore has Kansas City coming up next week. Chiefs won last night, finally got in the win column. And big one next week in the AFC. But we'll see how the Ravens do tonight against the Lions. And with that being said, we're going to get to the total of that game straight ahead. You are listening to Locked On Bets. Locked On Bets continues here on a Monday. Kevin Rogers and Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports. And we just mentioned Lamar Jackson and his rushing prop for tonight. So now let's look at the total for this Monday night showdown.
Open it, open it, open it! Lee has the key to the lock of the day.
Detroit lit up Chicago last week. They got their offense on track. Now let's see what they could do here on the road. We know in the first game at Green Bay, outdoors, the offense didn't do much. And Baltimore, again, off back-to-back 40-plus point efforts. See if they could do that again. Lee, what do you like with the total here with the Lions and the Ravens?
Okay, so we already played earlier last week. We played the Detroit side, +6, when the line was very advantageous. And the lines come down to like 4.5. So we already did play Detroit +6. That's a really good line. We got value there. And some people will say, oh, I want to parlay or I want to tease this game. So a couple things. I very rarely, maybe 2 or 3 times, will I parlay a game. Why? The odds, you only get paid off 13-5. That's not even 3-1. And the odds on winning both sides of anything are 4-1. So, it's a lot easier to win a game where it's minus 110 juice you lose, or even the reduced juice, sometimes minus 105, minus 108, than trying to win a parlay. And then I a lot of times the NFL, I do teasers. Didn't do any games this weekend, and don't like this because high totals in the NFL and in college, that my rule is don't tease them, because we could see Baltimore, they could win this game, let's say 38-24 or something like that. And then you got no chance at the teaser either way. Or let's say even Detroit blows out Baltimore with obviously good offenses here. So I think this game is the best way to look at this game on Monday night is the total, 53.5. Now, Baltimore did score 40 points in the 41-40 loss to Buffalo, and they slowed down near the end of the game. And then they beat Cleveland 41-17. They score. Detroit, horrible game. First game, only 40 total points. They lose 27-13 to Green Bay. That game was on grass, and they seem to slow down a little bit on grass, not the same speed team on the turf. Then they play on the turf and beat Chicago 52-21, scored 52. This game is back on grass. A lot of people remember what happened with Detroit late in the year. They were down 7, I believe, of their starting 11 defensive players. They've gotten almost all of them back. They have good pass rushers, Aiden Hutchinson, Marcus Davenport, also added DJ Reed from the Jets in free agency. Then on the other side, you're saying, okay, well, how will Baltimore slow down Detroit? They scored 52 points in the last game. Like I said, the game is on grass. You got Marlon Humphrey, one of the best cornerbacks. You got Starks, safety, Kyle Hamilton, good pass rush. I think that the public loves the over, loves to bet overs, and you're seeing these scores that have taken place early so far in the year. But I think the defenses are going to come alive here. So I think points are going to be a value. I think we might see, a game like 24-20 or 27, 24. And the total is 53.5. People love to bet favorites and they love to bet overs on Monday nights. I'm going to go under 53.5 total points. This is going to be a level 1 lock to start on Monday.
And we saw last week, too, Lee, a couple of unders in the Monday night games, Tampa Bay, Houston, and the Chargers, Raiders. So we'll see if that continues. And really, in week 1, Minnesota, Chicago should have been an under. You remember that one. So we have seen a couple low-scoring games in prime time. Chiefs, Giants was low-scoring last night. So we'll see if that trend keeps up coming up this evening. Lee, we start a fresh week, and Paramount Sports after tonight will be going to week 4 of the NFL. And your thoughts, or what do you have going on at Paramount Sports with the NFL and college football?
Well, the player props have been done really well this year. If you want to get NFL player props and college player props, you're going to get probably 10 to 12 every single week. So you want to get that, just $5.97 through the Super Bowl. You want to get our phone service, had another winning week there. So you want to get on that, $14.97 through the Super Bowl. And the UFC comes back. We'll have a UFC card up probably on Wednesday. That comes back, and seems like they've been away for a while. So we'll be giving out some selections there. Check out the website ParamountSports.com for that. And we had actually 4 winners on the giveaway. I gave away the Baker's Dozen, actually added 2 games, so it's 15 games. But the right answer was I played quarterback in high school, safety, and punter. So those are the 3 right choices. If you guessed linebacker, a little bigger now, but, a little above 200 pounds now, but I was not a linebacker. Wide receiver wasn't a bad guess either, or cornerback, but could have played those. But we had no one to back me up, and we had like 8 running backs. So no one to throw to me. So that's the right answer. And I'm going to do another big giveaway tomorrow. So listen in tomorrow. I'll have another big giveaway, and who knows, might give away something big for this coming weekend. So check it all out, ParamountSports.com.
Yeah, we also have a lot of big football games in college, Penn State, Oregon, Georgia, Alabama among them. We'll hit on this week. So tune in for that. That will come up. And don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Locked On Bets, as well as the podcast edition. You can find it on Spotify or Apple or wherever you listen to your podcasts. You can find Lee on X at Paramount Sports, myself at Rogers Picks. We will talk to you again on Tuesday for another edition of Locked On Bets right here on the Locked On Podcast Network.